What's up, bitches? What's up? Wake up. It's the morning time.
Down to the reading!
What's up, bitches? What's up? Wake up. It's the morning time. What's up, bitches? What's up? Wake up. It's the morning time.
Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everybody. How are we doing today? Happy Monday, April 27th, 2026. Creek Mike in the house, finally breaking the chat silence. I don't know what's going on. I don't know where everybody's at. I just miss everybody. And I wish, I wish we all could come together and hang out. And it has nothing to do with me needing an audience or needing people, but it just, it's just fun when y'all are here. It's so much more fun. Thank you, sir. Yeah, fresh cut last week. Um, and wife and I went out of town for our anniversary, so I had to dress it up, doll it up, look good. What's up, Dylan? Good morning, sir. I know it's just me and Dylan. It's just my little fly on the wall. But yeah, thank you, Mike, for stopping by. How are you doing? How's little man? How's work? How's wife? I think you were a couple weeks ago. You were hitting a pretty busy season, so I hope you're getting your way through that and all that kind of stuff. I am looking down the barrel today of a triple booked day. Got three different things all starting at in the 7:30 to 8:30 hour. So I'm just going to be bouncing around, making sure people are showing up, making sure clients are happy. And the two jobs are basically like brand new starts, but existing clients. So it's they kind of already know the gig. They know me. They know my guys. They know my style and trust me. So I'm not fully concerned, but it's just funny how both jobs ended up starting on this day. Not ever my preference. Thankfully, two different, you know, um, remodels. So it's not like competing crews in any way, shape, or form. So that's good. And one of them should be really quick and easy. Actually, it's needs to be really quick and easy. Only 3 weeks, and then I'm out. But yeah, what's up? Look, I was really hoping for a really good audience, guys. I took notes. You can't see this. My handwriting's illegible. This has never happened. I took notes. It was a big. It's been a big weekend. It was a big. Lots of stuff happened, and like I've done in the past. I have done the last week, and I think Jason was doing it before me. I did want to actually go through and recap the readings of the weekend, the ones that I miss and that I don't cover. So I did take some notes on the readings, and I did take some notes on some life uh, things that happened this weekend. So since no one's interrupting me, I'll just get to my page. Look at this guy. He was writing something. Oh, it's Kostakis baptism yesterday. How do you say that? Kostakis. Is that, am I saying that right? Is that not, his name's Constantine, right? Like, I could be totally wrong on that too. But baptism yesterday was awesome day. And yes, work is busy. We're trying to hire a shorthanded busy baby. It's tough for sure. Part of the like the thing that I was gonna talk about is like some conversations I had with my wife um on the way to our weekend that were a little rough, but it was rough referencing the like early years of our relationship and our, good morning, Brian, and our kids, and kind of like reminding herself, what's up, Oz? Good morning, sir. How are you doing? How was your weekend? Constantine in Greek is Constantino, Konstaki, like Michael. Okay, nice. All right, so like a nickname. I like that. I just haven't heard it or seen it. And then you switched it from a C to a K. So I think like his legal name is with a C, right? And then you switched it to a K. So you're just messing around. That's the fun part about being a parent. I was like the king of nicknames with my kids growing up. It was just really fun. Um, I think maybe a little of it has to do with some childhood trauma. Not trauma, I'm not gonna call it trauma, but like I never felt like I had a nickname. I never liked my name growing up. So I, would never tell anyone my name. I would just call myself Nick. When I was younger, I was named Nick. So gave self a nickname that was Nick. That always felt weird to me. But it is short of Dominic. 2 year old versus 4 year old Friday night till 3 a.m. at the ER. The 2 year old needed 5 stitches. Wow. Okay, so they had a little battle. Gotcha. Yeah, that's crazy. Were weapons involved, or does it like fell and hit something? That's wild. But boys, right? They like to battle. That's one thing that came out on me a little bit more. Like I still did it with my girls. I still wrestled around with my girls. Um, just pushed into a door. But when I had my son, oh, do we fight? Me and him. Oh, do we fight? Uh, yes. The joys of that testosterone in the house. um, but yeah, so for you new people here, I took notes. I have notes. Never done this before in 500 shows. I haven't done all 500, but I have a page of notes. I don't know what's going on, but it is what it is. Yeah, it's so rough. I only had my mom and I never did anything like this. Yeah, me too. I grew up single mother and had a younger sister. So when we, thank you. I'll get to them for sure. When we would fight, since I was the older and the boy, it didn't go very, like we never wrestled or fought or did any of that roughhousing. It would just be like I would punch her and she would run crying to mom. But yeah, it's different when you like I would guess like in your house or like MP's house or like friends that have like multiple boys. Like I've seen some wrestling matches from the other dom in Vegas. But yeah, so getting right into it, guys. I'm going to recap the weekend. That just feels more like the vibe of the show. Try to do it quick because I did want to get to all three readings. Um, but the weekend, as you guys know, was a couple's getaway for just me and my wife. Little anniversary present, little hiring bonus incentive for her, like me trying to convince her, woo her to come work with me in the company and help me build this a little bigger, a little better, a little faster. Um, and so I took her away to like a wellness resort and spa kind of thing. And on Friday, it did not go well in the morning. So Friday morning show was me with MP, and right before I started the show, while I was sitting reading and journaling, I started hearing a drip. And then I go and look over in the corner of my garage where I had just had a our whole house pressure regulator replaced. So I actually had my plumber from work travel all the way to my house, do the commute that I do, and replace it himself, like the owner, the boss, not his one of his guys. And you know, then I hear a drip. I'm just like 5:30 in the morning, just like texting like, dude, this thing's dripping. Like, what the heck? Like, and it was like flowing. It was flowing out of there, like almost a stream, not just like a drip every couple of seconds. And so I had that stress. I still carried on with the show with MP. Then I got off, went upstairs, told my wife, just let her know that like, hey, I got to figure this thing out. I don't think I'm going to get a plumber out here. I'm just going to go and try to replace it myself. It's not really a thing that I like to do, but my plumber had told me that like because of the way it was installed, it was relatively easy. Like most humans could do it. That's kind of what I like to hear. Yeah, yikes is indeed. So I went to Home Depot, got a new one, came back, I turned it off before and told wifey like one flush in every toilet. I know you guys got to wake up and do your things, but there will be no showers today. And she's like, seriously, can't you just turn it on? Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? And true story, like, could have done that. So then I come back, it's shut off. I just I turned it back on to, like, record for my plumber a better video of where it's leaking, and then noticed that it was leaking from the top union, not the head of the pressure regulator, which I thought originally. So then I just had to wrench on it. I never liked my name either, because the tone every time my mom used my first and middle name. Oh, nice. Oh, the Ray, Dylan Ray Turner. Yeah, that's a thing though. Like when moms of yesteryear and even my aunts and uncles, they always used to bring in the middle name. And it was always a frustrating thing. So then it's like, okay, the only time my mom says my first and middle name is when she's mad at me. Like other than that, she calls me honey or sweetie or whatever it is. Yeah, good thing I was home for sure. So wrenched it on like tighter and um turned it back on and everything was fine. There was no leak. So like went from like having to buy a, $300 regulator and, potentially do something worse. So then I go in the house and I run the faucets in the lower floor to test it, right? Just to make sure, let water flow through. And while I was doing that, I demoed out the drywall below because it was all saturated. Got some fans on it, stuff like that. This story's taking forever, guys. We're not even gonna get to any of the readings. Dang it. Uh Cliff note it then. The problem with Friday was everything went wrong in the morning for me and my wife to leave for vacation, right? Regulator, while I was testing the water in the powder bathroom downstairs, the sink was clogged with too much girl hair because I do have 3 women in my house. So the sink overflowed and there was 2 inches of standing water in the bathroom that my son found. So then we had to mop up all that. Um, then we moving on from that, I started packing up the cooler for my wife and I. I dropped a can of Coke and it just exploded, just like shooting Coke everywhere in the garage, on the gym mats, all that kind of stuff. Little did I know while I was going through all that stuff, my wife and middle child Brooklyn were getting into a fight upstairs about the mess in the bathroom. And my wife was wanting her to clean it, and she was wanting to not clean it. So they were heated. So I cleaned up my mess. I just put a pause on packing, and then I was ready to take Brooklyn to school. She comes downstairs like frustrated, barefoot, and just gets in the car. And she like puts her shoes on, no socks, and I'm just like, what is going on? She's not talking to me. She just walks right past me into the car. So then the whole car ride to school, I'm trying to get her to tell me what's wrong because I didn't know that they were fighting upstairs. I didn't know what had happened to her. There's a million things that can cause someone to have a bad day. So I asked questions as we drove to school, and she kept telling me she didn't want to talk about it. Um, and I kept pushing. Yeah, oh no is right. A test. Exactly, Dylan. Exactly. The world gave me a shitstorm before I went to a relaxing resort. Um, this is exactly what it is. So I'm pushing her, trying to get the answers, and she just is crying her eyes out because she's just so frustrated with mom and now so frustrated with me. And I felt so bad, but I was also so angry that I just couldn't stop picking at the scab. Like I couldn't stop myself from prying and asking and wanting to help. I was guilt tripping her a little bit, like, saying like, I don't want to leave you like this. Like I feel like I'm a bad parent by just sending you out the door crying and then I'm leaving for a weekend. But there was nothing I could do. Like she was shut down and I just had to let it happen. And it was unfortunate and it made me really sad. And then I got back home, got the other 2 kids to school, finished packing. Wifey and I were a little bit rushed because of, like the regulator and all that kind of stuff going on. Nowhere near nowhere near the end of the story, by the way. Like, how do I even get to my this is why I took notes. We're not get all of this ties into the reading somehow. Like today's reading was the voice in their head. So reading something like this 3 days after my wife and I were such a not positive voice in our child's head is a hard one, but also a very good reminder to just check yourself, be careful, what you say, and then most importantly, and this was a conversation I had with my wife, was get yourself into a state where you can repair, where you can say you're sorry. Um, Even if like this was a conversation I had with my wife, even if you're not sorry for what happened or what was said, like my wife Amy was like, I was very calm. Like I was very nice to her. Like I helped her clean the bathroom. Like I did not do anything wrong. She just took it way too harshly. And I'm like, okay, well, there you go. I'm not telling you to apologize to her for what you said. I'm just asking you to apologize for how she took the conversation, how she took the events. Like what played out in her mind was you being nagging or you being rude or you blaming her for the mess. So just apologize for those things. You're not apologizing for like what you specifically said or how you handled the situation. I mean, maybe for how you handled it. Like maybe, pushing a little too hard early in the morning is never a good time. But she was like, "Oh, I told her about this the night before." So there was a lot. That was the next part of my conversation is like, so my wife and I pack up and we leave, and and I go, "What happened this morning with Brooklyn? Do you know?" And she's like, "Oh yeah." So she tells me the whole story, and then we get into this conversation, like I don't know, half an hour to 45 minutes of the hour-long drive, where she and I are like tackling some big topics, and half the time I was in the conversation going, "How do I make sure that this doesn't wreck the weekend? Like this is supposed to be like a romantic couples getaway, not I took my daughter's side and my wife is now mad at me getaway." So I did take a couple of those pauses during the conversation. So we'll get to Saturday's reading, delay, delay, delay. Take the pause, take deep breaths. Um, give yourself a space where you are making sure you're checking, like Dylan said, checking your tone so that you're not coming off the wrong way. I put in plenty of opportunities um, where I checked in with her and was like, "How'd you take that sentence? How'd you take that last paragraph? Because I want to make sure that you're understanding me the way I want you to understand me." Like kind of reflecting to her conversation with Brooklyn. Like I kept what I was trying to do in the talk with my wife was I was trying to explain to her how similar the problems she has with our daughter are to the problems she and I have together. Like my daughter and I are very similar in the way that we react in situations like that, right? Big topics without blowing up the weekend. Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. There were a couple of times where I could sense my wife's took something like the wrong way or harsher than I wanted her to take it. Like I can sense her energy. And I told her that too. I was like, look, honey, you may be the nicest person in the world. And she is nice and sweet when you talk to us, but your energy changes. And like we all can sense it. Like you're super nice and super sweet, but we know you're mad. And that can be actually kind of confusing. She's like, well, do you guys want me to yell and blow up at you? And I'm like, no, that's not your way. I just want you to know that you think you're being nice and you are, but we know that you're mad. So we put anger on you. Like we project it. Like we let it we it comes out in our mind that like you're not being nice right now. Like you're being nice, but you're not happy. So yeah, there's a lot of big stuff that came up in that car ride. And, we did a really good job of communicating, which for me was a massive, like massive win this weekend. Like arguably the biggest win I've had in the last like 5 years because over the last like 15 years of our marriage and our relationship, and this was like circling back to like what I was talking about with Greek Mike earlier, is that that's not that's not been our normal. Like we've had so many of these weekend getaways that have been ruined because of a conversation like this that wasn't a fight between us. It was like something in the world or something in our kids or something in our friend group or something with my family um, that would turn into an argument between us. And then our weekend would be shot. And whether it was a weekend at home that was shot or it was a weekend away at shot, like we've had a lot of ruined vacations. We've had a lot of ruined events, like birthday parties, anniversaries, all like a lot of that has happened. And so this weekend going as well as it did go was just amazing. Like to reflect back on that, to think about how shitty Friday was, like Friday morning, compared to we got to this resort and as I'm driving up to it and having had the morning that I had, as I'm driving up to it, I was like, "Oh my god, this place looks like crap." Like from the outside, I was like, "This place looks so horrible." Like for the money that I spent and for what I thought it was, this does not look good. And my wife goes, "Are you judging a book by its cover?" I laughed. I was like, "Good one, honey." And when we got in the doors, it was a different place. It was a total different place. It was a the inside of it was gorgeous. The outside of it was like it was bad. It was like it was almost like an old building in a rundown city. Like it was bad. Like when I was at one point we were trying to figure out food like earlier and I was looking up restaurants in the area and there were none. It was just like the McDonald's and the Taco Bells and the, couple of little dives and stuff like that. And I was like, dang it. But yeah, we ended up having a great time. If you've seen any of my social media, you've seen like the fun that we had. It was just but it was bouncing from room to room to room. Like they had an ice room, they had a Himalayan salt room, which was like a meditative state space. They had saunas, they had pools, jacuzzis, and then they had these private-ish like mineral baths that were like super nice and hot, like a jacuzzi. But it was great. It was a good weekend. I highly recommend the place. I don't think any of you live out here, so you'd ever go. It's such an outskirt that like for any of you to fly into Los Angeles and be like, I'm gonna go to this place that Dominic recommends 2 hours away from Los Angeles. It would never happen. So I'm sorry, but I do encourage you, and this is what we did with ChatGPT. I encourage you take the name of the place and the amenities and throw it into ChatGPT and look for a place near you, and then take your wives or husbands to that place because it was a good time. Stayed there for 2 nights. Um, just like I said, bounced from place to place to place, and it was a lot of fun. All right, where did I leave off on my note? Look at that, dude. 26 minutes, 4 minutes left, guys. Okay, Saturday was delay, delay, delay. So take a break, take a pause, center yourself, get back to the conversation, the fight, whatever it is. Sunday was leniency matters. This one's a good one. And this one I didn't quite get into this with my wife because I hadn't read it yet. But this was something that I kind of I kind of take try to take this position as much as I can is like just let it go. Just like don't be mad at it. Just don't punish them about it. Like stuff happens, like think about all the times that you've made a mistake and that you've been like punished by a boss, a wife, a spouse, a mother, a parent. And think of how much better it would have been if they just acknowledged it and they were just like, it's okay. Don't worry about it. We'll fix it. So I think that's what the reading was, is just your kid already knows that they messed up, for the most part, especially when you come in and like tell them something, but then just giving them that that change, that like quick little reframe of like, you know what, it's okay. Don't worry about it. That thing broke. It is what it is. Like you were playing in the house with the ball that you knew you weren't supposed to do. I've told you a million times not to do it. And the thing that I told you was gonna happen, happened. Something broke, but it's okay. Like we'll just clean it up. We'll get another one. No big deal. And that like little, that tense anxiousness that the kid had in that time frame of they broke it or they did that wrong thing and then you found out, just kind of like melts away, and that's an opportunity for you to, as the reading says, pull them in instead of push them away. So connect with them, relieve their anxiety or their stress that they had over doing the thing that they knew they shouldn't have been doing, but in reality they're just testing their boundaries. And they're always wondering like why all these rules exist. They don't quite understand. Like, does glass really break if a ball hits it? Like, they don't understand that until they break something. You know, I broke like 3 windows when I was my kid's age, just playing around the house. So far, my kids haven't broken any. So, you know, and it's not that we have better windows. The houses I live in are still have the same crappy windows. And then today's was the voice in the head, which we did talk about a little bit. And I do get very worried and concerned that the voice, that my version of the voice in my kid's head has been a very negative one, a very, uh, what was it? Joking, sarcastic, mean spirited, bullying, even picking on them. I do get very worried and concerned about that version of my voice in their head. So, good reminder. Check the notes. Check the notes. The one, like, there was a couple of negative things about the hotel this weekend, but the one like that really like kicked us in the pants when we got into the room. Oh, that was the other thing. We got there early. And you know how you get there early and you're like, "Hi, can we do an early check-in?" And they're usually like, "No, check-in's at 4." Um, like my buddy actually had a story where he and his family went out to Mexico for spring break, and he asked for early check-in, and they're like, "No, check-in's at 4." Like, they were very, like, political about it, like, the computer says 4, it's 4. And then later, when they were going to their room, they asked the maintenance person or the staff, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, your room's been ready, like, since, like, noon. You'd have been fine." But anyways, we got to this place after that morning. We had massages lined up for 11:45, so we just planned to put our stuff in the lobby, do that, and then take advantage of, like, the rest of the thing. But we checked in at, like, 11, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, your room's ready. Go ahead." Like, "Sweet." We get to the room, decent room, cute furniture, all that stuff. No TV. Like, that's how on point they were for the wellness and the unplugging. No TV. And one of my wife and I's like most favorite things to do when we go on these us only vacations is, we do all the stuff, like all the baths and the stuff like that, but like absolutely love turning on the TV in the hotel room, laying in bed and just like watching. And the show that's typically on the most on these hotel TVs is Impractical Jokers. We absolutely love watching the reruns of that show. It's one of our favorite shows together. So we just put an ice bucket on a book in the middle of the bed and used our phone. And it was a little awkward because it's a tiny little screen, but we made it work. But yeah, that was the weekend. I hope you guys all had a great weekend. Thank you all for hanging here and listening to my spiel on everything. I did want to give you guys. I did not note this, but it was something I was thinking about. I did want to give you guys a huge thanks and shout out, as I like to do all the time and randomly, because y'all are a big part of my journey of growing up and being a better me. So in weekends like this where I, had a big win and I felt like we turned a shitty day into a great weekend, a lot of that has is thanks to you guys, because you guys have given me this space and an audience to just kind of like unload some stuff, talk some stuff through, learn from people. Like I've learned so much from all of you that, hang out here, chat with me, have been up here with me. The Jasons, the Ryans, the Blazes, the who are those guys? Where are they? So yeah, I deeply appreciate you guys and all your time sitting here with me, listening to me blab on for 32 minutes. So celebrate with me in this win. You guys helped me get here. Thank you very much. And I'll see you guys back here tomorrow. Do the reading. If you don't have the book, let me know. Dylan offered up a giveaway. I still haven't figured that out. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. Brian, I appreciate you. Our little call last week. Always good to talk with you. But yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. Did some flow worms this weekend. I taught a Pilates instructor your flow worm, Brian. That was cool. We can circle back on that tomorrow if you want. But that was fun. Yeah. Thanks, chat. See you guys later. Oh, forgot the music. Let's go. Let's go. Rock out, guys. See you later. Bye.